Hello, everyone. My name is Frank Anthony, and welcome back to Let Me Be Frank, episode 59. So, before I get into the various news topics that I'm going to go over today, I just want to let everyone know that today it is May 8th, 2021. So, anything that I'm saying is from that date and before. There may be updates on some of these stories because this will be released in like about another week or so. Yeah, about a week. So, just be weary of that so I don't get, the criticism of, oh, well, this was different or this already happened or anything like that. I'm sorry. I'm working in the past. This is past Frank talking to you right now. There's a couple stories that I'm going to start with that aren't necessarily the happiest of stories, but then I promise after that, the stories are a little bit more positive. So it's like you kind of start with the bad news first and then you go into the good news. Honestly, that's how I like to receive my news. I like getting, when people say, do you want the good news or the bad news first? It's like, give me the bad news first, because then at that point, it can't get worse than that. And you kind of end your note on a positive. If you're one of my friends, you may be familiar with, I like to give what are called compliment sandwiches. So what that is I start off with something nice. You got the bread of your sandwich, and then in the middle, you have the content. So the first good news is like the top of the sandwich, and then in between is where you say that constructive criticism or that negative thing, and then at the end is another positive thing, which is the bottom of your sandwich, hence compliment sandwich. So that's how the news is going to kind of be like in this, except there's 4 topics and you kind of got 2 negative-ish ones and 2 positive-ish ones. So it's like I don't know, what would you call it? It's not really a sandwich. It's like I don't know, like a half and half. So we'll just go with that. So to start off the news, we have to get into Peloton their treadmills being recalled. Dun dun dun. So you might not be familiar with what Peloton is. So Peloton is pretty much this is going to kind of sound bad, but it's like overpriced workout equipment in a sense. I have heard really good things about Peloton. It looks really cool. So of course, they're going to charge a good amount of money for something like that because, yeah, it's this new high-tech thing. I only knew about the exercise bikes at the time, and those range from, I want to say like $1,900 all the way to like $3 or $4 grand. So yeah, a lot of money. And they also have treadmills. I never knew about the Peloton treadmills until this recall happened. I swear, I thought they only had bikes. And mind you, too, with all this stuff, there's also a program you have to buy once a month. They have to stay on, kind of like a membership type thing. So yes, your equipment, which by the way, the treadmill, I want to say is in between $2 and $4 grand as well. So if you get a bike and a treadmill from them, I guess you're rolling. On top of that, you have the workout program, which is $49 or $50 a month. So it's like you can buy this really expensive piece of equipment, and then on top of it, you have to also pay monthly, oh my God, I just think about that. For me, I'm someone that doesn't like a lot of subscriptions. If they're yearly subscriptions, which by the way, if you'd like to become a producer, there's not just the monthly subscription, there's a yearly subscription where you save 2 months. Well, you get 2 months free. So it's like you have this expensive piece of equipment and then you have to pay this monthly thing. I don't like a lot of subscriptions. If they're yearly, it's like, okay, like, they charge you that once a year and you might just kind of like forget about it. Those are subscriptions sometimes people forget about, especially for me, if they're under $100, it doesn't hurt me or affect me as much. $50 a month, though, 50 times 12, like, no, that's a lot of money. And then, like I said, you have to get that really expensive equipment. I don't think I'd be able to afford the monthly workout thing, or I don't know. And then it's like, if you don't pay for that anymore, you just have the equipment that, like, what? Can you not use it without that program, or can you still use it? It just doesn't give you the workouts. You can comment below on that. I don't have Peloton myself, so I'm not 100% sure how that works. So Peloton is facing recalls because there was the death of a child, which is obviously awful. Before that death had occurred, there were about 75 injuries involving adults, children, and or pets in the house with the treadmills. This has nothing to do with the bikes. This was all with the treadmills. I guess what's happening is people or animals are getting caught under the belt of the treadmill, which obviously do not go near the bottom of the treadmill while it's running. That's dangerous. A 6-year-old child got caught under one and unfortunately died. That obviously led to the treadmill needing to be recalled. The CEO did not want to recall it at the beginning, which it makes you go, that's a little suspicious. Eventually he did end up recalling it. And my opinion on that too, it's like, because it was like, at first I was thinking, oh, that's good. He did recall it. He didn't recall it right away, but he did at least recall it. But then at the same time, I thought about it, and I thought about how much money it would cost. I'm thinking that it would cost Peloton a lot of money to fight certain claims, and they might just not have the funds for that because they're not this huge corporation like Amazon or Walmart or something. Like, they're still relatively new, even though they probably do make good money. And I'm assuming the CEO was thinking that, well, shit, I don't want to lose a bunch of sales. And that's kind of what happened with this recall. I want to say it's about $175 million that the company is missing out on. But a child died. It's like, you can't just be like, oh, nothing happened. I did see the CEO. I think it was Good Morning America. They interviewed him very recently. I want to say yesterday in past time, because it won't be yesterday when you're listening. But I want to just say the other day, the CEO was interviewed. He tried reaching out to the family of the child, and they didn't want to talk to him. I can kind of understand that. But at the same time, if the CEO did do that, like, good on him. I mean, it sucks. It sucks because it's like, when you're the CEO of a certain company and you create this product and then horrible, awful things like this happen, it does really suck. And I'm assuming they have some sort of coverage. I don't 100% know, but I'm assuming a company like this, they got to have some sort of coverage. I did kind of read up that there's not really a lot of safety warnings, which it's like, you have to have that. You have to cover your ass in that sense, especially with workout equipment. Even when people work out at the gym, there are tons of injuries that happen in a professional setting, let alone in your own home setting. And then children on top of it, or pets, it's like, you have to watch them around this type of stuff. There's a reason why kids, especially kids so young, or pets, or anything that can pretty much be vulnerable or a victim in these types of situations, there's a reason why they're not allowed near this type of equipment. So it's one thing, part of me wants to say, well, yeah, they should make the treadmill somewhat safer. And then the other part of me is thinking, well, no, we can't, well, not no, but like that we can't also be having our children fucking around with this, not only expensive, but, hazardous equipment, like gym equipment and workout stuff, even dumbbells and stuff, you shouldn't be playing around with. You can get hurt. There's all different types of injuries people can get. You have to be careful. And yeah, you have to watch your kids. It's extremely unfortunate that a child had to die from something that can be avoided. I'm not blaming the parents necessarily, because obviously the company does need to take responsibility as well. But it's just so unfortunate to lose a life from something like this that can be avoided for multiple reasons. You have to watch your kids around these things. You have to come from the company, though, too. You have to warn people like, hey, warning, don't do this, don't do that. Overall, it just is awful that one, people are getting injured on this equipment, but it's really awful to actually lose a life. Peloton has recalled about 100,000 of their treadmills, and I don't know, there's no word yet on any sort of lawsuits or class action suits or anything like that. I haven't heard anything on that so far. So maybe I'll stay updated with this story. I don't know. This type of stuff kind of fascinates me in a weird way. All these stories actually do a little bit. We'll just go right into the next story. So the next story is probably the saddest one out of all. Well, I mean, the first one I just said is obviously sad too, but this one also involves potentially a death, most likely a death. It has to do with Suzanne Morphew. I think I said the last name right. So Suzanne Morphew, she lived in Salida, Colorado with her husband, Barry Morphew. And unfortunately, last year, so it was actually May 10th of 2020. So by the time this airs, it'll literally be a year since Suzanne had disappeared. She went on a bike ride and she just never came back. She disappeared. And I think about there's so many true crime podcasts. I could see why people get into this because it's just, I don't know, it makes people curious, like, well, what the hell happened? And stuff, especially if the person hasn't been found. There's so many different things you can think. The number one rule in any of these situations that people always say is look at the partner. So the husband is the main suspect. And about a day or two ago from this recording, he has been charged with murder. With these cases, it's tough because obviously we haven't really heard him say much besides when she went missing last year. He did one of those televised messages of please come home, or whoever has her, please bring her back type messages. They also have kids as well. It's hard. I can't really guess like, oh, I think he did it or I don't think he did it because there's not really much he's given out to the public or public record to make you think he is responsible. Unfortunately, in a lot of cases, the husband or the wife of a missing partner is usually a main suspect, unfortunately, because, you have to think, well, how was their relationship? Was there any turmoil? Was there any, fighting or abuse or anything like that? Suzanne's sister recently has come out also too. Yeah. So he was just charged. It took a year for him or for anyone in general to be charged with this crime, which in my opinion is also really unfortunate. I won't say much about the justice system, but I just feel like that is such a slow time to have that be going. Like it took a whole year just to finally charge someone. So that does suck. Suzanne's sister did start coming out to talk about her brother-in-law, and she pretty much said that I'm positive he did it and that he's been suspicious. They've had issues, and Suzanne was trying to fix their marriage pretty much. And this is also just the words of Suzanne's sister. So that's why it's really hard to say whether or not I think Barry is guilty of this crime. It's awful that Suzanne is still missing. They have not found a body. I want to say the district, they just assume that she's not alive anymore. Unfortunately, someone missing for so long, in most cases, the person is most likely not alive. There are those rare cases that the person is still alive, but it's also really hard to tell, exactly what happened until they find a body. And it's been a whole year since, and they still haven't found anything, which I can't imagine anyone who has to go through that. I just want to make a comment too, that just something I don't personally understand about cases like these. Because I try to think about myself whenever I was with a partner. I've never been married, but just whenever I've been in a relationship, I just can't personally understand killing your partner, especially if your partner wasn't abusive or nasty to you. Like I don't understand how you can harm your partner. Like instead of just trying to leave them, trying to divorce them, I just don't understand how it just like skips certain steps and just goes right to death. Yeah, but I mean, I also don't know exactly what happened between, every situation's different and I don't know what happened behind closed doors with these two individuals, but I don't know, it's hard for me personally to understand like how the thought process just kind of like puts logic to the side and just goes, I think I'm going to kill them to get out of this. It's just awful. And it happens so much. It's happened. There's so many cases where this happens, especially when a partner kills another partner. And it's so unfortunate how us as human beings can just become so passionate. And I don't mean passionate in a good way, but like passionate as in like your anger level can just become so explosive and so destructive so quickly to where you react without thinking first, which then there's also cases where people really think about it for a long time about doing something like killing their partner. And it's just, yeah, I'll never understand personally why someone would do that. Okay, so we're going to go on to the more positive type stories to kind of lighten the mood. So if you've made it this long, thank you. So this story, when I came across this story, this just sounded like me as a kid, but there's a lot more to it. And a heartwarming ending type thing. But this is, oh my God, this made me laugh so much I had to cover this story. So 4-year-old boy buys more than $2,600 in SpongeBob SquarePants popsicles. So they got 918 popsicles for $2,600 off of Amazon. I just have to say, when I was a kid, they still sell, like at the ice cream trucks, they still have SpongeBob popsicles, right? Comment below. I think they do. They have to. That was my favorite as a kid. I would look as a kid, whenever the ice cream truck was coming, I'd be like on the second floor in my old home. I would run down, I would jump in front of the ice cream truck to make sure I got a SpongeBob SquarePants ice cream with black gumball eyes. And oh my God, those are the best popsicles. I know another popular one was always the snow cones. Snow cones are fucking lame compared to the SpongeBob SquarePants popsicles. Fight me. Sorry, not sorry. So this boy bought so many of these popsicles. I can relate on a personal level because they're amazing. Unfortunately, there was obviously some bad news with this. When you buy a consumable like this on Amazon, it's usually non-refundable, and these were non-refundable. I don't know how the boy was able to do this. I mean, I'm assuming they somehow got in the account, and I know Amazon saves your credit card information. So, oh my God, I really felt for this mom. The mom was not laughing about this because she couldn't return them. And I mean, $2,600, like people don't have that laying around. People have bills every month. So what ended up happening was someone created a GoFundMe for the family to try to raise the money from this unfortunate death. By the way, I just said death. Debt. The death of the bank account, if anything, yeah, the death of the money. But where are they putting all these popsicles, by the way? I mean, how many freezers do you have to get? Because I think it said at least 51 packages. It's like, where are you putting all these ice creams? I'd probably be taking them out of the boxes and then just like, I don't know. I think I would donate some to the ice cream trucks. Well, maybe not even donate, maybe sell them to the ice cream trucks. Is that possible? I've never been an ice cream driver. I don't know how that would work. Just go on the street. I'm selling SpongeBob SquarePants popsicles. But I don't know how that would work. But anyway, fortunately, they raised not only the $2,600 on GoFundMe, they raised $10,000. So thank God to the family for being able to get the money back, and they got some extra money out of this. And hopefully that kid doesn't order more popsicles. By the way, I just realized I forgot to mention the 4-year-old boy has autism. So, which even whether he had autism or not, kids just don't know better all the time. I know when I was 4, I probably could have done something like that if technology was as advanced as it is now back then, but it wasn't. So we couldn't necessarily do things like this. But yeah, I guess that's another situation of you got to just make sure you're watching your kids, because they will be impulsive like that. They don't understand money like adults do, or even young adults or teenagers that, once you start working for your money, I know before I started working, I would, oh my God, I'd be borrowing my mom's credit card and going clothes shopping and all this. And then when you actually start working for your money, it's a whole different thing. Like when it's not your own money, I remember I'd get like all these video games and clothes and stuff. And now that it is my own money, I'm like, wait a second, I got to think first. Even not thinking about bills. I mean, obviously bills come to mind, but even not thinking that, you're like, hold on, maybe I shouldn't be this impulsive. But I'm happy with that story that there's a good ending to that. And I mean, that boy is going to be eating SpongeBob popsicles probably for the rest of his life. All right. So the last story has to do. Now, I come from Massachusetts, which is part of New England in the United States, for people listening outside of the other countries. This is about Rob Gronkowski, also known as Gronk. He played on the Patriots last season, I should say. He went to the Buccaneers. He was supposed to retire, but then he played for the Buccaneers for at least one more year with Brady. They won the Super Bowl because Brady's amazing. And no, all the players did a great job. But this is just about Gronk. So another like little positive story. And this actually happened in Boston. So this is actually fairly close to where I am. So NFL star Rob Gronkowski and his youth foundation are donating $1.2 million to help restore a beloved playground in Boston. The funds will help renovate the Charles Bank Playground on the city's Charles River Esplanade and create a trust to maintain the property. Gronkowski, who's 31, oh my God, I forgot that he's only 31. Like, I'm 28. What am I doing with my life? Like, he's 31 and he's donating millions of dollars and has all this money, and I'm 28 and I don't remember what I ate for breakfast. But Gronkowski, who's 31, made the donation through his organization, the Gronk Nation Youth Foundation, which is dedicated to helping kids through sports, education, fitness, and community development. And he said the concept of this playground will be to motivate kids to be outdoors, get fit, and have fun. I hope this playground inspires the next generation of athletes. So that was really cool of him. I just want to make a comment that I like when celebrities do these types of things. You know, they have the resources they've made. I just think about if I ever made $1 million in my life, it's like I don't know. This is kind of just like something I've learned through life. Like, you don't need to hold on to all this money. Of course, save your money in general, but like, who needs, some athletes, what is it? Tom Brady, I think, made like 40 or $44 million for playing a season of football. Obviously, there's more to it, obviously, but you know what I mean? That's so much money. It's like, what are you going to do with 40 something million dollars? Like, you're not going to just go to the mall and spend all that in a day. It's just not going to happen. Well, who knows? I don't know. Don't try it. But it's just so much money that it's like there's certain things you can do to give back to communities. I like when celebrities do these types of things, and they don't need to. It's one thing to save your money. I definitely respect people who save their money, but I can't stand when it's like when certain people, which I guess at the end of the day, people can do whatever they want with their money, but I'd rather see people or see these celebrities putting the money into projects like this, or into foundations or charities, or just anything to give back to communities, over buying like a zebra and a shark and tigers to put in their home and 70 cars and stuff. Like, it's just, I don't know, to me that's a waste of money, because it's like, is all that stuff really going to make you happy? Do you even have time to appreciate all those things with how much those people work? I know, just looking at my own work schedule, like, I do not have time to entertain a monkey and a shark and clean a tennis court and take care of 70 cars. There's no fucking way. So I don't know. Like, I don't like when people are even, and I won't even say just celebrities, just when people in general are wasteful with money, where they could be doing some good things with it. They could be helping certain organizations, but instead they're just like, I'm just going to blow it all. I'm just going to give it all to lap dances or to just like certain materialistic things. It's just like, I don't know. I just don't understand. I guess I kind of understand. I'm someone that's like an impulse shopper at times, but at the same time, it's like life isn't just about the materialistic things. It's not just about money making you happy. I know that sounds kind of cliche, but it's true. It's true at the end of the day. We do need money to survive, and money can make us happy in the sense of feeling comfort and security and not having to worry or struggle about certain bills. But it's those connections you make with other people. It's doing things you actually love to do. It's spending time with people and your pets and everything that matters, and just really taking in fresh air outside. There's so many small things that we can easily take for granted. And I feel it's like those are things that are so nice to just look back on and remember, before your last dying days or so. It's nice to, you don't really think about like all the purchases you made or all those hours that you worked in a company maybe or anything. You think about the more like positive memories with others or just experiences that you were able to create in life that didn't involve having to grind at work or having to, make money, I guess, or like you or using money in a certain way and stuff, like certain vacations people remember and stuff. So it's, I don't know, just create those new experiences, make your money, keep making your money, keep saving your money, and, and obviously do some fun things with that money too. Just remember that, yeah, money is not the only thing that can make us happy. It shouldn't be our number one source of happiness, is what I'm trying to get at. Hey, Past Frank here, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure you subscribe to stay updated on new episodes, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, and if you'd like to become a producer or make a one-time donation to the show, click on the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description. I want to give a special thanks to my executive producer, Monica Leigh, and producers Jennifer Herrera, Alexa Hunt, Stephanie Lindsay, Kas Nolan, and Rebecca Russo. I also want to thank each and every one of you for listening and watching the show. Have a super special, awesome day, and bye.